We're really a small group. I would love to reintroduce ourselves if I haven't met you before. I see a lot of familiar faces. Um, I'm Lagaya, and I have been learning a lot about AI these past few months, as have we all. And I am coming from a non-technical program manager background, and I will pass it to Winnie. Please introduce yourself.
Yes, hi everybody. Yeah, I'm Winnie Chu. It's good to see everybody this on Thursdays and talk about AI and what we've been vibe coding, and that's the purpose of me starting this group. And I I my AI story that I'd like to share, and I shared last week, is my agent applied for a job that I didn't know. And I got the interview, moved forward, and I had to talk about my agent. And I was not apologetic about it, and they were excited to hear about my building. So I'll pop it over to Amy Spencer.
I gotta find the mute button. Oh my goodness. I feel like I should stop saying I vibe code anymore because I just I just started working with a nonprofit called the Center for Rural AI. And I feel like an engineer. I have gone and asked a lot of my software engineering peeps, like, how do I write a good engineering spec? How do I do tests? How do I? So I don't even feel like I vibe code anymore. Everything is so serious right now. But yeah, I really appreciate, like, you were the first talk I went to in this group, and I didn't know at all what I was doing. So it's good to, be kind of come back around and yeah, but I don't think I'm a vibe coder anymore. I feel like I'm serious.
Like, when do you graduate from being a vibe coder to being a serious, what did you call yourself? An engine, like a vibe engineer, an engineer.
Yeah, well, I don't want to say I'm an engineer. It's just that I'm running so many like like tests, not like, oh, let me view and see if I got an API call in the console log. It's like I'm running serious tests to make sure that every time a user uses something from the Center for Rural AI, that it gives them the right response if there's an error, that they don't get a 404 message, they get a 429 or whatever. Yeah, I just feel like I've plunged into some really serious like software engineering sort of architecture, which is,
Cool.
yeah, it's definitely a step up for me. Whew, but it's good.
Well, that's awesome. Thanks for being here. Okay, who's next? Uh, Sam, you can go next. Thanks.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Yep, I'm Sam. I'm a product designer slash vibe coder or builder. Currently seeing if there's product market fit for a manufacturing platform, along with many others. I've been part of this group for I don't even know how long now, and just recently did a presentation just last month on a patient advocate marketplace platform. But continuing to see if any of these business ideas have traction and go from there.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, Sam.
I can go next. I'm Aarti. I'm new to this group, but I've been part of other AI architects group with Ligaya and other AI circles, whatnot. And
Sorry, just overall.
I've been vibe coding and I'm an engineer, so I've been vibe coding using AI, getting up to speed with AI since last year, end of last year, beginning of this year, but I had some disruptions, but I've been like focused since like mid-March. I'm part of the JSC NSA community looking for a job. Um, at the same time building my AI portfolio. And I actually recently had a recruiter screen, and then the job was it was an AI developer tools job. So I've started interviewing for jobs that are not connected to what I did
Hmm.
like 1 year, 10 months ago. So yeah, so I also built a AI agent for uh, a career strategy agent that I will present in a few weeks. I don't know when. I signed up. I'm excited to show what I built and get feedback. But I'm excited to see what Ligaya is going to show us today and be part of this vibe coding community where we can share, right, ideas.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. I don't know if Brian or Rodrigo or Carl, if you're here, if you want to introduce yourselves. If not, oh, Brian, yay.
Hey, hey, Ligaya.
Hey.
Yeah, I got your invite to join this session today, and so dropping in. From a vibe coding perspective, yeah, I've been using tools, gosh, maybe for even a year, but definitely things changed and really doubled down starting in like February timeframe. Started to build lots of different stuff. So yeah, I'm part of similar to Arthi. Uh, as part of the AI architect group and part of the Never Search Alone community looking for my next product management leader role. So I kind of am joining from a product management mindset, which is perfect for vibe coding because you're essentially giving requirements to AI and asking for it to build stuff.
That's awesome. Rodrigo.
Hi, hello, how are you? Yeah, I saw the email today, so I joined. Um, yeah, my experience with by coding. Well, I mostly by coding for my own projects, for a a prototype I'm developing that involves hardware too. But most of my coding is related with Python scripts or JavaScripts, also uh, web applications. And I tested Gemini, uh, AI Studio from Google. That is a very nice tool to use. I recommend it. But currently I'm using Claude Code most of the time, and I've been I tested Lovable too, but with not very very good results. So um, yeah, it's quite difficult to get a proper output. I don't know. Maybe I using the wrong way. I don't know, but it I find Lovable more hard to use than other tools out there. That is my experience. I don't know if you agree, but but that is just my experience. But to be honest, I haven't used it very much too. So uh, yeah, I think I have to test it a little more. Actually, I have 1 year of free use because I'm LinkedIn gave me one year for free, the basic plan of Lovable. So I will try, during this time to see what happens. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Rodrigo. Hi, Katie and Tiffany. Thanks for joining. If you would like to introduce yourself in the chat, that would be great. You can let us know who you are, where you are in your vibe coding journey. And I'll go ahead and get started with these two Shake apps. I'm really excited to show these to you. Okay. Um, I have to figure out how to share my screen. Is this correct? Okay, can you hold on a second? Enter full screen. Okay, can you see the slide?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. But please, if you have any questions as I'm going through here, just unmute yourself. Oh, Carl, I'm so sorry. Carl wanted to come off of mute and speak. Before I jump in here, Carl, please unmute yourself and speak.
Hi there. Yes, I've actually been involved with AI for about 7 years, starting out with machine language engineering way back then, but more recently have been doing vibe coding for a number of things. I do AI technical delivery management for the company I work for, so as it relates to compliance, cybersecurity, definitely applications for the business. But then also on the side, I've used a number of different tools. Claude is probably the top one for a lot of the work that I do, but I've found more recently that Manus is fantastic at security. So using a combination of tools, once you build out your interface and the look and feel, trying to make sure that it's secure, you might want to use a different tool. But definitely looking forward to today's presentation, and thank you, Lagai, for the invite.
Thanks so much for joining us. Was there anybody else who would like to unmute themselves and speak? I'm going to ask you actually if I'm during this presentation, if you do have a question, it's really hard for me to look at to follow the chat. So if you could just unmute yourself and interrupt me, that's the easiest way for me to know if there's a question.
Sure. This is Winnie. I can also keep an
Yeah.
eye on the chat. If there's any burning questions, I'll interrupt you and ask the question on their behalf.
Okay. Okay, cool. Okay, great. Okay, so welcome to my talk about this app and building this one app kind of with two different builder agents. So I gave Claude Code and MindStudio's product agent Remy basically the same brief. But before I get to these two versions of this app, like why did I build this? I heard Carl talk about like business, what is the business output of this, of these builds? And for me, I did not really have a business output in mind. I just wanted to build something kind of fun and silly. I wanted to build something that people might actually use. Um, Maybe in the back of my head, I thought, okay, maybe it could be something like a lead gen funnel for my business, and people come to this app and experience this app and then come to my website from there. But I really just wanted to make something fun and cool. Okay. What is it? Shake is a magic 8 ball for music where you can shake your device, you can shake your phone and get a song back. All the songs have the word shake in the lyrics. So again, the business case is pretty slim. It was just kind of a fun thought. I was thinking about, like back in the early 2000s, somebody showed me an iPhone app called How High Can You Throw Your Phone? Which I thought was really so stupid, but so funny because like people were taking their phones and throwing them as high as they could in the air. And that was the whole app. It would like measure how high your phone is going and then and tell you, oh, you threw it this high. And it resulted in a lot of broken phones. But I was just thinking about that, excuse me, that time when we just had apps that were like just fun and stupid and silly, and just made us laugh. Okay. Uh, so the Claude Code build versus the Remy build, and I'm going to actually pull up the live apps, and I invite you to, if you can, to get them on your phones because the phone being able to actually shake through, I think is really fun. Okay, okay, hold on one second. So I have to find the app. Just a moment, please. Oh my gosh. So you can still, oops, pardon me. God. Okay, can you see the Claude Code version? Yes, Claude Code, it's an 8 ball. Is this what you can
Yes,
see?
that's what we
Okay,
see.
okay, perfect. So I said, hey, Claude Code, I really would like to have an app that is a magic 8 ball for songs. And when you shake it or tap it, in this case, it pulls up, it pulls up a song. Uh, And that is it. That is the only it's the only thing it does is it pulls up a random song with the word shake, and if you click through to Spotify or YouTube, it'll take you there too. Again, if I'm on my phone, I can shake it. And it will,
I got a yawn.
Rafi is one that I wasn't expecting to come up here, but here we go. So that's the Claude Code version, and I think when I made it in Claude Code, I thought, gosh, this looks awesome. I love it. It can't possibly get better than this. Uh, so then I was doing a hackathon with MindStudio and getting into this Remy app, and I thought, okay, why don't I try giving Remy the exact same brief? Um, and you can see, Remy went in a totally different aesthetic design direction. And I'll talk a little bit more about some of the other choices too. So this is what happens in Remy. Excuse me, the Beastie Boys.
Lagaya, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I kind of know what Remy is, but not
Yep.
really.
I will share more about it.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. I am happy to share more. I will talk more a little bit about why they're different and how this build experience was different. Um, okay. So that is Remy, and I can ask it again and it'll okay. Anyway, I really hope that you can try them both on your phone. Matt, yes.
Hi, thanks for sharing. This is super cool to see. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Just curious, like timeline wise, when did you build these? Like what models on Claude Code were you using when you
Oh
did?
gosh. Yeah, yeah, great question. And okay, thanks for asking that question. And I think I'm just gonna launch into my talk because uh I do talk about that later. Um, to quickly answer your question, that in terms of timeline, the Claude Code one is built off of Sonnet as the LLM, and then the Remy versions actually were using Opus, and then Fable for a brief time when we had Fable. Okay, so before we move on, if you could quickly, based on this brief demo, if you had to choose one to vote for, who would be the winner? Um, Claude,
Quickly
Claude
show
Code, or
camera
Remy?
1 and camera 2 again. Lagaya.
Yeah. Oops. Oh wait, this is not the actual live app. This is Shake via Remy. Camera 1. Camera 2. Claude Code. Classic design.
And same models, right? Like I asked, Sonnet.
Okay. Hey, Tiffany, you have a question?
Right. Just to reiterate, you were using the same models on Remy and Claude Code.
No, no,
Okay.
it's not a fair fight. It was not a scientific experimental design.
Okay.
Um, it
So
was
Remy, you used the better model, the Opus model.
well, okay, I will explain more. Yes. So Remy was when I was using Remy, like we didn't have an option for which model to choose. They made us use the best Opus model. So okay, I will end this poll and share the results. We've got basically the Remy version winning, but a few folks, sharing that maybe it's a tie. Okie dokie. So Tiffany, it's not a fair fight if it's like Fable versus Sonnet, kind of
Yeah.
regardless of the harness. But okay, so uh again, not a controlled study. I had different prompts for each of these builder agents, um, and different models. Yeah, it was Sonnet and Claude Code, Opus, and Fable for Remy. Um, okay. So here are the main differences about for me for working with these two builder agents. Working with Claude Code really makes me feel like I am a true collaborator with this agent. Like I have to be the one bringing the brief, the builder intuition, the product intuition, really, telling Claude Code this is the path I want to take or getting its opinion on what path to take to implement. But I still would have to know a lot to get to the output versus working with Remy, which is a product agent. I basically just gave it a brief, like, can you make me this really beautiful orb that produces songs? Uh, and then it kind of orchestrated a whole team of other agents to build the product on my behalf. Um, okay. So I'm going to spend like the next 20 minutes or so kind of thinking about uh, talking about like side by side, what are the things that I brought for each build, and what, kind of what are the things that, how do they stack up against each other? Uh, so again, thinking about like what I had to bring, for Claude Code, I had to bring a brief and my judgment. Like I had to be the product manager and do the QA and, bring the design taste. And the results when you work with Claude Code will kind of, in my brief experience, will match your technical intuition. Versus with Remy, I kind of gave up a lot of design control in terms of like, let's do this, let's do it in this path. And it took over. I gave it a brief and it was like, this is the plan and we're going to build it out. I will build it for you. Uh, and including things that I would not have thought to ask for better or worse. Uh, okay, round two, things that broke with both agents. With Claude Code, the first build design that it suggested was to have an AI do an intelligent search to pull the songs and then present them to the user. And that worked terribly. It was like the AI, which was Claude itself, came back with hallucinated lyrics. It was inventing like song titles, like use an AI to call these songs to search for them and present them, like did not work well. The Claude Code version also, it couldn't get that Apple Music preview to work. After quite a lot of back and forth, I had to drop Apple Music from Claude Code's build. Uh, Shake sensitivity. Okay, so on the mobile device with the Claude Code build, the very first version that it produced, like when I moved my phone just a tiny bit, it would do the action for the next song. So like I had to go back and forth quite a bit with Claude Code to get the shake motion on your mobile devices to work. And then also for deployment, again, as a non-technical, somebody coming from a non-technical background, like a lot of this stuff was very brand new for me. I don't like what's a Vercel? I don't know. Like I had to Claude Code suggested, okay, you're gonna put this on Vercel, so you're gonna need to make an account. I already did have a GitHub, but so I had to sync everything to my GitHub and then get it going on Vercel. And it was, even though I got there, I felt like it was a lot of accounts and surfaces to babysit. Now I see that Rodrigo saying Netlify is also a good option for deployment. For the Remy product agent, it was literally single click deploy, which was amazing. Like it was like, okay, it's done, boop, boop. and then I had a live app. Okay. Round three. And I think this is the part that I thought was also pretty interesting about the engineering choices that these two agents made. For Claude Code, everything, the song list is baked into the app. It's basically like one big, block of code, and it's all in the web browser, and it'll call like all of the songs are like in like getting called from the browser. Uh, it is one long file, but it's all, it's one long file that's kind of like frozen and static in there. I mean, of course, I could change it. The things that Remy did are again things that because I don't have that like kind of technical foresight about like, okay, like maybe in the future I want this to be a more complicated, complex product. Uh, Remy decided, actually, no, those songs are gonna live not on the front end, like, but they're gonna be in a MindStudio server. So it set up a whole backend via TypeScript for this app, where all of the songs are server side, and it can call them that way. Uh, it built Remy also built everything out in like small swappable pieces, so there is room to grow that way. And some of the pieces when you build with Remy, it will also build you a roadmap for your product. So some of the things that it suggests on our roadmap is like, hey, when we get users in here, why don't we send them a daily song? Or why don't we like enable like a sharing option where like users can, just share their songs with others. Um, the invisible 90%, wake lock, audio unlock, motion timing, survives a real phone. Okay, I think I did also have to do a lot of back and forth actually with the Remy version to get the shake action to work on all devices. There's different settings on Apple phones versus Android that we were hitting, but yeah, ultimately they both ended up working. Like that shake function worked, but Remy, kind of built out like a much more complex build and roadmap. And if you are kind of interested in the more technical design notes, I can share, hold on one second. I can share some notes from from Remy. So the product agent Remy, uh, actually like I gave it, the code base from Claude Code, and I said, hey, can you kind of look at this code and the Claude Code code and kind of talk through what are the different engineering choices. Um, so I will share that in the chat if you're curious. It's a little bit more technical. Uh, Document there if you're like, ooh, like what's actually going on in the back end. Please check that out. Um, okay, next round. The look and feel, and this part, Claude Code built this beautiful floating 8-ball, and it was exactly the thing I had pictured in my head. And Remy built something really cool and beautiful, but it was kind of an abstraction that I didn't ask for like a nebula or like a swirling like cosmic orb. I said, can you make me like a really beautiful magical magic 8-ball type thing that people can look at and ask questions to and receive these songs. Um, so I think it ended up being like very beautiful, but I didn't, it wasn't the thing that I exactly was thinking of, if that makes sense. Uh, okay. Um, I wanted to go back to, was it Carl's question about the different models? Because I thought this was kind of interesting. Um, you can see these design builds from Sonnet to the left. In the middle, it was Opus. And I had a different version of this orb that Opus had built, and which was also really cool. And it was this graphic in the middle that when you clicked on it, it like got really bright for and like spun as its animation. Um, and then when I gave Fable a brief to, can you redesign this orb and make it more mystical, more magical? Fable is the one who like put in all this kind of really beautiful, subtle motion into the orb. So in terms of a design, it's like several layers uh, of the image, and they're all kind of moving in different at different speeds. The Fable version. Okay. Uh, all of these design agents have, because when you work with front end design and Claude Code, it will always say like, okay, avoid AI, generic design like purple. Uh, but um, but you know, Claude Code's design did produce a little bit of purple hidden in that 8 ball at first. Um, and Remy, the product agent, was quite pleased with itself that it didn't use any purple at all, even though some of that magenta and some of that magenta and blue kind of like make a purplish thing. Um, okay. Round 5. So what do you walk away with after and the cost? Because I think this is a really important piece of this. For Claude Code, I did walk away with a working app, but the setup tax I thought was quite mm, complicated. Just in terms of having like a lot of different surfaces to manage, like different accounts. Um, because Claude Code had me, set up a whole API account with that failed AI call. Now I have like, $20 or whatever of API credits with Anthropic that I have to figure out how to use. Um, but like in terms of cost, it really just costs my normal subscription plus those API credits. For Remy, on the other hand, because MindStudio is passing on the API costs to us, so I was getting billed for intelligence of, Opus and then Fable for the redesign. So I think it was $110 for the original build out, and then when I did the redesign with Fable, like $80 for redesign and fixing a bug. So that's the that's the true API costs of the intelligence. Yeah, yikes is right, so it's like not for the faint of heart, for sure. Um, but Remy, MindStudio's Remy also produced like all this other stuff, like a roadmap, pitch deck, and a bunch of marketing assets that I wouldn't have asked for unless I was ready for all that stuff. But again, it's like a kind of a thinking about, yeah, again, collaborator versus PM, basically, for that you're working with. And Amy, I can show you what the Remy app looks like, because I know you were asking about it. Uh, Let me back out over here. So for MindStudio's Remy, you can view your dashboard like for this is something that, the app will build you. It comes with the build, I guess I should say that. You can build out the same thing, with Cloud Code or with depending on wherever you deploy. Um, Remy will build out also all of your databases. It'll build out your front end, back end, auth. Because my little Shake app doesn't have a database. It's just I'm not tracking anything about the users. But Remy, MindStudio's Remy will build out all of those like a full stack app for you. Um, which Claude Code will too, but you have to be the one to like ask for all that stuff and direct it. Um, okay, so this is a peek at like what the code is looking like in Remy. And then yeah, this is what it looks like in Remy. It's basically like a chat interface where you can talk to it and ask what you want it to do. Uh, Remy, they call itself a spec first product app. So the philosophy is that, the spec is the I can't say that word, single source of truth. So any design decisions get logged in the spec first, and then the spec syncs out with all of your code and databases, which I think is an interesting approach and makes sense, especially as things get more and more complicated. Having everything, building it out with a single source of truth, I think makes a lot of sense. The other really cool thing about this MindStudio agent, I think I mentioned earlier that it really is more like a team of agents doing this work. So I just had it do my pitch deck for me, actually for this, not pitch deck, slide deck, for this talk. And it ran a QA agent, to take a picture of each slide and make sure everything looked good. So it deployed this QA agent to ingest everything, take a look at it, and then suggest any changes. And then, okay, so before all of this happened, it also consulted the design agent I said, hey, I want you to make me a really cool deck with, the aesthetics from my Claude Code and Remy too. Can you talk to the design agent and build it for me? So, here's Remy, the orchestrator, talking to the design agent, and over here is, the design agent's response, like, okay, here's what I think we should do. And this is just for the deck for this talk. There are other agents back here for for code, for the build out, when you're actually like making your app. So it's basically Remy like orchestrating all these little back end agents for you. Then, again, it made me all this other stuff. It made me a pitch deck that you can't see now because it's my talk deck. It built out this roadmap for where to go next for the Shake app. And if I'm ready to go, I can just be like, okay, let's do this. A deeper catalog, grow the Oracle to 100 plus songs, themed collections, deeper cuts, more decades, more surprises. It thought about a sharing lane for product development. I also thought about like how can we get the Oracle out to people in different channels, via email or social sharing. And if we do start getting user information, how can we like keep that and make the app even more meaningful for users? So all of that is to say, like, yes, you know, you can use Claude Code to do all that stuff too. And yeah, you just have to be the one to tell it, right? So again, it's like collaborator, like true collaborator versus really like a product, like a PM agent who's gonna kind of say like, this is what we're gonna do, and I'm gonna design it for you. So you lose a little bit of agency, I would say, with Remy. Okay.
Gaia,
Yeah.
quick question.
Yeah.
Do you think you move faster I'm assuming you moved faster on Remy to build the second version because one, it's an agent PM.
Yeah.
So it, like you said, it does a lot of the work and thinking and planning for you. But do you think you also move faster because you built it the first time you had a brief with
Yeah.
Claude Code already?
Probably Winnie, and that's a good question because I also, when I came to Remy, I knew some of the challenges that I had with Claude Code. So I front loaded those. I said, hey, we're gonna build this thing. Here are some challenges that I've already like met, especially with the mobile versions. So it went faster, but then I think the other things that went faster for me, Winnie, with Remy was like all the deployment stuff. I was like, with Claude Code, I had to do all this setup and like make accounts and get, figure out how to store my keys. And it was just like a lot of setup tasks. And a lot of that still, even if you have Claude Code, talking you through it, was like a lot of manual steps. And for Remy, the deployment was literally it was single click.
For PM who wants to build something,
Yeah,
I almost feel like I can't use Remy. I'm gonna lose my own skills.
yeah.
By using Claude Code, it forces me to think more logically and then doing it once for one app that's fun. I have that I could it's muscle memory that I'm building for future projects that I'm working on. But if I continue to rely on it, Remy, it's almost like a teacher saying my students can't use AI because I'm not learning.
Like it's taking too much. Like t it's taking on too many decisions for you. Is that what you mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
unless my company is willing to pay for Remy and say, I don't care. You go ahead and use Remy, we'll pay for it. We just want you to move fast. That's one thing. But if they're not paying for Remy, I'm gonna go back to Claude Code and
Totally.
do all the steps myself.
Yeah. Yeah, Tanita.
Thoughts from other people, PM
Uh,
designers?
like my question to you is which one was more fun?
I have to go with Remy just because like this crazy orb design like was so cool. Let me get rid of this. Like also, Remy, I feel like when Remy ingested the brief, it like really stayed in character the whole time. It was like, we are designing an oracular divination ritual for the user. Like, and like all of like its like back end thinking was like, like creating Starfield, like all of the little stuff that it was doing and thinking about seemed really magical. And I mean, like, look at this. It's just like so pretty. It's this like extremely gorgeous orb
Because
nebula.
it was because of the latest model, Fable, right? But
It
what if you
was,
tried the other different types of visual models out there? Would you get the same
I don't know.
effect?
I don't
Does
know.
Remy now let you choose a model or no? Or
It
are you
does.
still forced to?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It lets you choose. So you can choose, like, you can also downgrade, if you want to be like, oh, I just want to use DeepSeek. Um, yes. Arathi.
I just want to know what you use the API credits for. What was it for the,
Why?
uh-huh.
For let me for this version of the app, the Claude Code one, um, originally Claude Code was like originally Claude Code's recommendation was to um, do use the API credits to do an intelligent search with Claude to find a song with the word shake in it and then return it to the user. So that is why I had to get an API credit was because the first iteration with Claude Code had us go down this path where we had an API, an AI part of this app, which didn't work. It came back, it was like hallucinate, like it was like every song was Sam Cooke's Shake It Like a Bowl of Soup. And it was like, that's just not this song. Like there are other songs, Claude. The intelligent search part like didn't end up working for this build.
So what was your solution instead? Did you just have a JSON list of songs?
Yeah, it's just a list. Yeah, and it's a really great song list. Actually, the one for Remy, one of my friends who works in the music industry, and she works for this band called Pink Martini. I don't know if you've heard of them. Um, but she was like, I know so many songs with the word shake in them, and she started like DMing me all these songs, and then we got on a call, and she ended up helping me hand curate the whole song list for this one, which is really fun because she knew a lot more songs than the AI did. So yeah, they're both Danita. They're both like a static song list that um, it just is like a random get song and then
But it's
present it.
also like a better way, like, so
Yes,
even though you're using AI to vibe code it, I think it tends to default to using AI as the solution. But it's
yeah,
also cheaper for you as the person maintaining the thing if it doesn't
totally.
have AI, if it doesn't need it.
That's interesting that I hadn't thought about like AI is like we'll just use AI for this. But Remy's product agent did not send us down that route. It was like, no, we're gonna build out a list for the back end. Okay, these are great
Oh,
questions.
I'll add one thing, Lagaya.
Yeah,
Um, so just as AI becomes more intelligent and more agentic in terms of breaking down big problems, we're going to see what you're calling out here, which is in one case you're really having to tell it the product development life cycle to some extent and what you're going to use it for afterwards in terms of your marketing it, you're launching it, you're pitching it as a company or not. Whereas as AI is smarter, you're just going to see it's going to know how to apply the product development life cycle better than you could even if you're in the industry. And
mm,
so the domain expertise and knowledge becomes less important because AI will just be able to do it for you and launch it. And you don't have to go through all the manual commands to deploy or do any infrastructure or any security. It's just going to know exactly what needs to be done given the scope and the industry that the application is going to be operating in. And so it's really interesting to see the agentic approach of what is it, Remy, and
yeah,
how it's, a step in that direction because it's going to only continue that way. And I don't think what would be interesting is with Remedy is if you were more specific in terms of what that scope was or
yeah,
what the product development lifecycle you wanted it to apply and how you wanted it to design it or you wanted it to test and really listing the exceptions or the things you don't want it to do so it stays within scope. If it would have been, if your prompt had those things from the start on both sides, it would have been interesting to see how they compared.
thanks so much, Brian. I think that's a really powerful insight. And I will add that I have talked to other builders who have used Remy and tried to do more of what you were talking about in terms of giving it a more defined scope, or even like, giving it like you- like really strict specs up front. And Remy was like, goodbye, like, thanks for this, but I'm gonna do it my own way. And that was something that the MindStudio people told us too. They said, don't come here with like a lot of details for it because
It still knows better. It
yeah,
still knows better. But I mean, if
it
you say what's out of scope, if you say this is not in scope, I wonder, versus saying this is in scope and here's how I want you to do it, it might still know better. But if out of scope items, it should observe, I would hope.
yeah, one would hope. I will say that something Remy working with Remy did at the beginning build out part when we were kind of talking through the intake, like what do you want to build, what problems you want to solve. it did a really good job of helping to define a scope for this product. And I worked with it for another product, and it helped me think, okay, for this build, it just looks like this. And all this other ideas that you have floating around your head, we're going to kind of put aside for now, and we're just going to focus on this scope. So that was something that I thought was a really good, I don't know, it felt very product sensey to have this product agent like help me define and clarify a scope before we started. Um, and for Claude Code, it's just like, yeah, let's, whatever, like, let's go, let's build it. So literally what a PM says daily to stakeholders. That's funny. Like, okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's the difference between a looping model versus an agentic model. That loops also, I think.
What do you mean by that?
Hopefully I'm not digging myself in a hole here. So
No.
I mean, I think the way Claude and Claude Code's working internally is it's breaking down a problem into pieces and iterating through each of them as it breaks it down, and then aggregating the results of things together, and then going through kind of a list of things to, build it, then design it, then build it, then test it, and it breaks things down. What I saw with Remy is that it's multiple agents all operating um, kind of independently and in parallel. So it feels less serialized to me, um, and more um, asynchronous in the way that I saw that it was operating. So synchronous versus asynchronous. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but is what it looked like.
Yes, Danita.
Um, does Remy have a way for you to give it context, like your business context or anything?
Yes, yeah. I mean, up front when you're building it, you can be like, use my brand colors, and then it can say, no, thank you.
Oh, interesting. Because that's one of the things I like about working with Cloud Code is, although it kind of over-indexed on the last thing I did, but it already knows, even though I'm working on like two different startups, when I say the name of the company, it already knows what that context is. And so it helps me design for those audiences for that product, as opposed to like, oh, I'm just reinventing the wheel, making you a completely separate product that could be for anybody, which from your description of Remy kind of sounds like what it does.
Okay, so I know I said no, it'll throw out anything you give it, but I think it also before it built out any of this, it did give me all this like stuff to approve, so I could have at this point said, why can't I see the colors here? It gave me, it was like, we're going to use this typography for this, like the visual identity will look like this, like it gave me like a whole, it, before we built, it said, this is the spec and this is the vision. Like, what do you think? I think at this point I could have said, I need you to actually, align with these brand guidelines. And maybe it would have done it, but I have also heard people say, yeah, I gave Remy all these guidelines and it just said, like, F you, I'm going to do it my own way. So maybe it's getting better at that now. Okay. Okay. In sum, we have, yeah, like a collaborator. You're building together, making the calls with Claude Code, and with Remy, like a true product agent. Like when you give it a brief and you come back to like a fully built out product. The thesis, this talk is called the play thesis, and it is because I really feel really fortunate to have the resources and time to like play with these products. And I would not have, if I was doing this for like a business outcome, like I wouldn't have touched Vercel probably, like I wouldn't have like gotten to the Claude API. Like I wouldn't have like tried to like get, a shake gesture out of a mobile phone. Um, and also, going back to this question about these API, why did I have AI API up front? Like having to experiment with that and cut it, that experience too taught me a lot more about what what doesn't work in this case, helped me clarify what does work. And I got to have this really great experience of seeing people actually like get these apps on their phones and shake through and laugh and smile while they use my app, which was so awesome to see actual real users tell me that they had a great time with this app.
Yeah, I was just telling the guy I use it as my mojo prepping before an interview. I would go to our Shake app. I would say, how am I going to do on this interview? Hit the button. And it's always a very positive and happy and upbeat song. So thank you, Lagaya. I love the app.
Thanks, Winnie. Winnie said she was a DA. She was my first DAU, which is so awesome.
I think shake is also a great word. Like if you had picked any other word, like, I don't know, love or, something deeper that could go in many directions, seems always positive and upbeat. Every song. I haven't had a shake sad song yet.
I think that most of them are shake in a positive way. There are a couple that are, I think, a little sad. But I think it is, yeah, as a word to choose for the song catalog, it's a pretty good one.
Question, Lagaya, on the music that plays, is there any cost in accessing the songs or the rights to play songs and randomize it like that? Because I could see this, and maybe that was in the roadmap, but you have it just playing songs for Shake. But I mean, if somebody wants to listen to a certain genre of songs or they want a certain um, any theme they request, I could see this being used by anybody, just like what is it, Pandora or something where somebody types in an artist or they type in a genre or they type in something and then they can shake it and basically just randomly play songs. But for something like that, I would think the access to the music costs something, and so I just wonder if operating this
How's
costs
it
anything.
working here? Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll just pull it up and show you what's pardon me. Uh, it's calling Apple's API just for a preview. And it'll just go for 30 seconds here. And
Okay.
if a user wants to hear the whole thing, then they can click through to one of these platforms, where they hopefully have an account or, so um, it is surfacing this preview via the Apple Store, Apple Music API.
I wonder if you could monetize it with an affiliate links for those services.
That is so ingenious. Let's talk. Um, okay. Well, thanks everybody for coming. I know we're at the top of the hour, so I'm happy to see you all. I can stick around if you still have questions.
Thanks, Lagaya.
Thanks, Brian, for
Great job.
coming.
It was really
Yeah,
cool.
thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Lagaya.
Thank you,
Great job.
everybody. Thank you, Lagaya.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.